Hi, my name is Dominic Triveline, here with my coach Justin Harris. We're currently 8 days out from 2017 MPC Junior Nationals. Current weight, I was 195 this morning, and we're about a week out from the show. Justin will talk a little bit about what prep's been like for me.
I'm Justin Harris with Japonin Nutrition and Muscle Mentor. I apologize for my voice. I had a little nasal surgery this week, and so I'm not breathing so well right now. But Dominic and I had pretty much a full year together. We talked not long after he won Teen Nationals last year and talked about maybe setting something up together. So shortly after that, we started working together. We worked most of the off season together. No real goal other than just continue his progress, which was, add size and mostly keep him lean. I wanted him not to have a major weight drop at his next contest, and that's pretty much what we were able to do. I think he started his prep 16 weeks out, somewhere around maybe 230.
It's 231,
yeah. And then and he responded great to the prep, which I kind of was expecting. What we did with his off season was we kept everything really basic. We kept his carbs really high, his protein relatively low. I mean, for a bodybuilder, relatively low. For a normal person, it was still high. But we kept his diet really basic, food groups really basic, carbs really high. And basically what we were able to do is then when we switched gears to contest prep, we didn't have to make a huge calorie drop. We just adjusted the macros around, and we went to a stricter carbohydrate cycling with high carb days, medium carb days, and low carb days, where the total calorie count didn't change that dramatically, but we were able to up the protein and play with the carbohydrates, where really for a large chunk of the prep he wasn't losing any weight at all, just kept getting tighter and tighter and growing into the prep until the only problem we ran into that was somewhere around, I think 3 weeks out, he was sitting around 221 after a high day, only down less than 10 pounds from his start of his prep, where we knew we needed to be a light heavyweight. Now there was some potential he could have been a heavyweight. I posted pics online. He was in shape at 220, certainly decent shape, certainly a shape that wouldn't have been disappointing at the national level, but we kind of talked about it, and I think the problem would be is that he's already jumping up a weight class from middleweight, and the problem is if you jump 2 weight classes, if he came in as a heavyweight and was anything less than the absolute most shredded guy in the show, there's always going to be people who say, well, he probably should have only jumped up 1 weight class. So we made a decision. We had a couple discussions about it. I mean, we kind of always knew light heavyweight was the best approach, but he was looking really good at still, 20 plus pounds over light heavy, that we wanted to make sure it was the right decision. And we decided to bring him down to light heavies, and we worked him really hard the last 2 weeks. I mean, really suffering. Different approach because his calories were pretty high most of the prep, and we had to switch gears and really, really deplete him down. And so right now what you're seeing in the video is a very, very depleted Dominic, but it can be frustrating when you see these videos and as his coach what you're looking for, and sometimes when people don't have the background, they don't know what they're looking for in the video. And so I guess what I could say what we're looking for is, we know he's super depleted, and there's certain areas of the body that get depleted. There's just larger areas, and they deplete down more. Back, legs, they're a lot of muscle. So when they get depleted a lot, the skin tends to look quite a bit thicker because it's not the skin doesn't get stretched as thin when it fills out. Other areas like an arm just isn't as big enough to shrink down as much when you're flat. And so I tend to take my focus when someone's depleted and flat to judge their true conditioning. I move it kind of from the glutes and lower back where you might look when someone's filled out, and start moving my look to what they look like in areas here where that's really, as a flat person, you can get the best true judgment of conditioning. Because when that person fills out, if you're focused only on glutes when they're soft, what you miss is that when they fill out and those legs hold 5-6 pounds of water and glycogen, that really stretches that skin, and the glute conditioning doesn't come in until that point. So we just did kind of our last main in-person look before we start kind of iron out the details for the final week, and I think he's ready. He's going to make light heavyweight. He's got all the tools. So at this point, we just, he did the work. We just got to basically not screw anything up the final week. So I guess that's on me. He just gets to relax and coast in now. He did all the hard work, and then hopefully, obviously everyone's goal is to come in and win the show, and that's what we're going for, and I think he's got a legit shot. But regardless, I think we're going to make a big statement that as a 20-year-old competitor, we have a future professional bodybuilder on our hands 100%.
Yeah, to kind of go along with what Justin had to say, we had a pretty tremendous, not even a full year together. I put on over 20 pounds of stage weight in better condition than I was last year in less than a year. It's pretty rare you see guys do that. I mean, it's considered excellent to put on 8 pounds of muscle a year, contest stage weight. For me to put on over 20 pounds in less than a year, doing 2 shows in a year's time, is pretty incredible. And also I was really able to grow into the show on higher calories. I remember last year I was just starving in prep from like 10 weeks out and in, and I'm still eating a decent amount of food, so I haven't really been starving this whole prep despite a few low days, but definitely packed on a lot of size. Very happy with the package I'll be bringing to stage and what Justin's been able to do with my physique.
And after the show, Justin, then what's the plan? Just something
Yeah, the basic plan is, and I've actually posted a few pictures of competitors on Instagram right now where I show kind of what can be done with a proper rebound. What hopefully, I mean, it's like, he's done 2 big national shows as a young guy within a 12-month span. So there's going to be those issues with appetite and wanting to be a normal 20-year-old kid for a few minutes. And so we'll do our best to fight through those. But the basic plan is get through that first week or 2 where appetite, cravings, and especially post-contest depression are at their peak. And what happens is when you're dieting, every couple hours is important. Every 3 hours, you have a chance to make or break something you've been working on and thinking about 24 hours a day for months. And so the days are, they're stressful and tiring, but they're exciting because you constantly are doing an important thing. Every meal is important, and then suddenly the contest is over, and all of a sudden it doesn't. If you eat ice cream instead of steak, it's suddenly not a big deal and nothing bad happens. There's no real immediate consequence, and it's really hard to fight through that. So our goal basically is get through those first 2 weeks. I don't want to give away exactly what I do for people that that pay, but we do basically a high-calorie cleaning approach with some spaced meals where we allow some freedom with the goal of, by the end of week 2, being ready to tackle a full off-season prep without being so bloated that you're not able to work out properly. See, the thing is, you can go and pig out in it and gain 40 pounds the first 2 weeks after a contest, and you look big and veiny and you're ready to train and you feel awesome, but then you come in and try to squat or try to deadlift and your lower back pumps up before you even get through warm-ups, and you actually have a detrimental effect. So that's our primary goal, is to get to that point so that at the 2 weeks in, he's gained that nice glycogen weight. I expect that he'll be back up over 230 and get, I like to do about a month of really good hard work, and then we'll let him have his break. And so we're looking at somewhere for him, it works out perfectly, somewhere in mid-July, middle of the summer, where he's got now he has his month chance to be a kid, and we're probably somewhere in the mid-230s, bigger than he was hopefully at the end of last off season, and that's when he really will have his break.
Just real quickly, but for people who don't know as much about the term rebound, can you explain the biological process?
Yeah, just from being depleted for so long, the body's been low on glycogen primarily, which is stored carbohydrates in the muscle. And it's really, as much as people always focus on glycogen, but if you take a piece of meat and ask how many grams of carbohydrate in that piece of meat, there aren't very many. So it's really not so much the glycogen or the carbohydrates that causes that swelling, it's the water. And it becomes more, if you take a piece of steak, you don't really count the grams of carbs in that steak, but you can see the difference between a dehydrated steak like beef jerky and a steak that isn't dehydrated. You can see how much of a bigger difference water makes. And that's the primary thing. What that happens is you've been low on glycogen for so long, those muscles have been low on water for so long, low on minerals, low on electrolytes, that you just get depleted. And then when you switch gears and the body goes from pouring water, glycogen, electrolytes out of the muscle for months on end, and it wants to suck up every carb, every drop of water, and every electrolyte it sees into the muscle. And so you could take advantage of that, and you get that really full, huge round look, which, if done properly, fuels heavy training. Your joints are cushioned. You have better leverages around your joints. You have the great appetite of, your leptin and ghrelin, your hunger hormones are all all primed after months of dieting to take in a ton of food. The problem is there's a fine line between optimizing that and drawing water in the muscle to allow for better workouts and stronger workouts, and optimizing those, or taking advantage of those hunger hormones and taking in a high amount of good clean calories, and going too far and shoving your face with junk and getting so bloated that you actually start getting worse training. And so that's kind of the line that everyone toes with the rebound. And if done properly, you can make your best gains in the weeks immediately after a contest. If done wrong, you turn into a bloated mess that ends up in the hospital with pancreatitis, which I've seen. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely believe that my rebound last year after the shows, at least half my off-season gains, definitely within 3 weeks after. I was already above the heaviest weight I've ever been in my entire life, and the best condition. I was eating more food than I ever have. So the rebound is definitely the most important part. We're going to take full advantage of it this year, and then go right into our off season with the goal of being a full-on heavyweight next year.